You know that feeling, right? There's a problem you were sure you solved, a bad habit you thought you'd finally kicked, but it just keeps coming back. It is so frustrating. It feels like you're stuck on a treadmill, going nowhere. Well, what if there was a simple but really powerful way to shift your perspective and finally put those problems to bed for good? Let's get into it.
And it all starts with a feeling just like this. This simple, frustrated cry from a child named Lila. Wow, it just perfectly captures that sinking feeling when a familiar problem shows up again. You know, it could be a literal leak, or maybe a recurring argument, or a project that always seems to hit the exact same roadblock. We've all been there.
So let's talk about this seepage, because it's obviously more than just a damp spot on the wall. It's really a perfect metaphor for any of those nagging issues in our lives that we just can't seem to shake.
And that is the absolute key, isn't it? The fact that it keeps coming back. It's not a one-off thing, it's a pattern. And that pattern, well, that's probably the most important piece of information you have. It's a huge, flashing sign telling you that whatever you tried before, it didn't really work.
You know, our first instinct is always to just patch the thing we can see. We paint over the damp spot on the wall. We apologize after the same old argument. We kind of just muscle through the project deadline. We do these basic, surface-level fixes and just hope for the best. But as we all know, they're usually just a temporary Band-Aid.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting. What if we stopped seeing that recurring problem as some kind of curse and instead started seeing it as a clue? I'm telling you, this little mental shift changes absolutely everything.
And boom, there it is. This is the brilliant insight from Lila's mom. The seepage itself isn't the real problem, it's just a symptom. It's a sign that's pointing to something much deeper. The issue you can see on the surface is basically the world's most obvious arrow just screaming, hey, the real issue is over here.
So, the most important thing you can do is to start asking this exact question. That recurring stress you feel every Sunday night, what's it really an indication of? That argument you keep having with a loved one, what deeper issue is it actually pointing to? You have to stop looking at the seepage and start looking for the leak. Look at this. It breaks it down perfectly. On the left, you've got the surface view. You see the problem is just an annoyance, a flaw, maybe even a curse. It's totally passive and just frustrating. But then on the right, you've got the detective view. And all of a sudden, that annoyance becomes a symptom. That flaw becomes a clue. That curse becomes an indication. You're shifting from being a victim of the problem to being the investigator of it.
So how do we actually put on our detective hat and get to work? Well, let's open up a little case file to see exactly how this whole investigative process works in the real world.
Like Lila's mother says, it's a detective story. There's a mystery here that needs to be solved. Our job isn't just to clean up the mess every time it happens. Our job is to follow the clues, find the source, and close the case for good. All right, here's a super simple but perfect example from the story. Let's imagine you have a cough that just will not go away. This cough is our seepage. It's the obvious, annoying symptom that's demanding all of our attention. So let's walk through the steps here. The symptom, the cough. The failed fix, the basic surface-level repair, is taking cough syrup. Sure, it might make you feel better for a few hours, but it's not solving a thing. The real work is the investigation, the lot of looking around and thinking. And that's what leads to the actual root cause. Turns out, oily fast food was causing the issue. So the real fix becomes crystal clear. You have to give up the junk food.
Let's just be super clear about what we mean by root cause. It's the fundamental issue. It's the source of the leak, not the seepage on the wall. See, if you only treat the symptom, the cough, you'll be buying cough syrup for the rest of your life. But if you solve the root cause, the junk food, the cough just goes away on its own.
So that cough, that seepage, that problem that keeps coming back, it's a message. Your body, your relationship, your project at work, the system is trying to tell you something. Our job is just to learn how to slow down, listen, and figure out what the clues mean.
All right, now it's your turn. Time to take this idea and apply it to our own lives. And hey, you don't need a magnifying glass or a special hat. Just a new way of looking at the challenges you're facing. Here it is, your detective toolkit. First, you have to identify that recurring problem. What is your seepage? Second, start questioning your temporary fixes. What's the cough syrup you keep reaching for that doesn't really fix anything? Then, start looking for hidden patterns. Ask that all-important question, what is this really an indication of? And finally, just keep following those clues until you find that deeper leak. Okay, one last really crucial point.
Finding the root cause is one thing, but fixing it is another. Lila's mother reminds her about the huge tantrum she threw when she was told she had to give up that oily food. The real fix, the one that actually addresses the deep leak, is often way harder than just slapping a patch on the surface. It requires real change, but it is the only way to truly solve the problem for good.
So I'll leave you with this question. Think about your work, your health, your relationships. What's that recurring issue, that damp spot on the wall that you just keep painting over? What if it isn't a curse at all, but a clue? What seepage in your life is just waiting for its detective?